Title: Imitation Isn't Innovation: How Copying Crushed My Growth. When I first launched my small design consultancy in London, I was full of fire and fear. The fire came from years of dreaming about starting something of my own. The fear came from the noise. The market was saturated. Every corner of the internet had a creative agency claiming to be bold, innovative, and disruptive. It was like trying to sing in a room full of opera singers without knowing if I could carry a tune. I'd spent months preparing, refining my skills, building a portfolio, reading every branding book I could find. But when launch day came, I panicked. How would anyone find me? Trust me? Pay me? So, I did what felt safe. I opened tabs on my browser 10 of them all featuring the top design studios in the UK. I studied their fonts, their color schemes, their taglines. One said, "Design that speaks." Another, "Clarity in chaos." I combined elements from them all and made my own version. My website? A sleek black and white layout with sans serif fonts and stock images of modern workspaces. My logo? Minimalist. Predictable. Safe. My slogan? Something like creative solutions that connect. I don't even remember the exact wording, it wasn't mine to begin with. But hey, I told myself, if it works for them, it'll work for me. And weirdly enough, at first it seemed like it did. I got compliments. A few inquiries trickled in. One small business owner said my website reminded him of an agency he couldn't afford, so he figured I was the budget-friendly version. I wasn't sure whether to laugh or cringe. But I needed the money, so I smiled and said, "Let's talk." In 2 weeks, I closed my first 2 deals worth a combined £500. That felt like victory, like validation. I remember dancing around my flat with a coffee mug in hand, yelling, "We're in business!" But in that moment, I didn't see the cracks forming beneath my shiny new surface. I didn't know that what I thought was a brand was just a mirror, and mirrors don't hold attention for long. I was blending in so well, no one could actually see me. Looking back now, I realized something important. My first mistake wasn't copying. It was thinking copying was the strategy. The excitement from landing my first clients kept me buzzing for weeks. I thought I'd crack the code, just follow what works and ride the wave. But the wave, as I'd soon learn, was not mine to ride. My first project was for a small marketing startup. They wanted a brand identity refresh, new logo, a website redesign, and a few branded assets. Easy enough. I'd seen other agencies handle this kind of project. So I did what I always did, opened 5 competitor websites, looked at how they approached similar projects, and mirrored the same tone, layout, and visual language. I delivered. They were happy-ish. One of the co-founders said, "This is great, but it looks kind of familiar. Did you use a template?" My stomach dropped. "No," I replied too quickly. "It's inspired by current trends." He didn't press further, but I could tell he wasn't sold. He approved the files, paid the invoice, and that was that. No follow-up project, no referral, just silence. Then came the second client, a boutique bakery looking to go online for the first time. I reused my safe formula elegant serif fonts, minimalist layout, warm muted colors, cream, blush pink, and soft gold. Pretty, polished, predictable. They launched the site, and within a week, someone on Instagram called them out. "Wait, isn't this the same design as that coffee shop in Shoreditch?" I felt a chill crawl up my neck. It was similar because I'd modeled both from the same agency site I'd bookmarked months ago. The bakery owner called me, not angry, but clearly disappointed. "We trusted you to help us stand out," she said. "Now we look like a copy." They didn't ask for a refund, but they never spoke to me again. That's when I started noticing something odd. My inbox was quiet. Too quiet. I wasn't getting new inquiries. No word-of-mouth referrals. Nothing. It was as if my business had become invisible. I asked a mentor for feedback. He took one look at my website and said, "It's clean, but who are you in all of this?" I blinked. "What do you mean? You sound like someone else." 10 someone else's. There's no edge, no story, no heartbeat. You're hiding behind the work instead of standing inside it. It hit me like a brick. He was right. I was a collage of other brands and echo chamber, and in trying to play it safe, I'd made myself forgettable. My social media, generic tips with no voice. My emails, templates copied from marketing blogs. My proposals, cold, formal, and stiff. Everything I had built was technically fine and emotionally empty. And then came the worst part. A client ghosted me after a discovery call. When I followed up, they replied honestly, "We liked your work, but we couldn't tell what made you different." That one sentence knocked the wind out of me. I wasn't different. I wasn't me. I was invisible behind a wall of imitation. That night, I stared at my website. Everything looked good, but nothing felt true. I had built a brand without a voice, a business without a soul, and I knew I had a decision to make: keep hiding and fading, or start over with my own voice at the center. I didn't burn it all down overnight, but I started chipping away at the facade. First, I took down my website's homepage, just a holding page with one sentence, coming back with something real. Then I got quiet. I turned off social media, no posts, no ads, no chasing. Just me, a notebook, and the uncomfortable truth. I had no idea who I was in business. I only knew who I had copied. So I went inward. I listed the types of clients I actually enjoyed working with: small, purpose-led businesses, especially female founders and creators. Not just big brands or flashy logos. I thought about what I cared about: clarity, personality, empathy. Not just design for the sake of aesthetics, but design that helps someone feel understood. I remembered my first freelance job before I even had a business name, a friend's candle brand. I poured myself into that one. No templates, no borrowed voice. Just curiosity, care, and a genuine desire to help. She'd called me months later and said, "People say the packaging feels like me." That was what I'd lost, so I reworked everything. Logo, colors, tone, services. I scrapped my cookie-cutter packages and wrote one headline across my new site: "Let's build a brand that actually sounds like you." My new brand voice? Conversational. A little quirky. Still professional, but now it sounded like someone real was talking. Me. I rewrote all my case studies, this time explaining why I made certain choices, not just what I delivered. I admitted when I tried things that didn't work. I shared what I learned. I added my face to the website, my story to the About page, and testimonials that sounded like real humans, not over-polished PR blurbs. Then I hit publish. At first, nothing happened. A week passed, then another. But on the third week, I got an inquiry. A voiceover artist from Manchester. She said, "Your site made me feel like you get it, like you actually see people." I nearly cried. I booked her. Then a fitness coach, then a therapist, then a baker who had been following me for months and said, "I didn't know what changed, but suddenly your work felt alive." Clients started coming not in waves, but in steady ripples. And this time, they came for me. 6 months after I stopped copying and started building with honesty, something incredible happened. I began to grow. Not rapidly, not virally, but organically, with clients who weren't just paying me, they were seeing me. My average project fee went from £300.50 to over 10. I no longer needed to chase 10 tiny jobs just to survive. Instead, I worked with 3 clients a month and still had time to breathe, think, even rest. One day, I got an email from someone in Edinburgh, a boutique skincare brand. The subject line read, "You sound like someone we'd actually want to talk to." I smiled before I even opened it. When we got on the call, they said something that stuck with me. "You don't sound like everyone else. You sound human." That, to me, was the real win. Suddenly, my inbox didn't feel like a graveyard. It felt like a garden. Each message wasn't just a cold pitch, it was someone saying, "I think you're the one." I stopped second-guessing my ideas. I didn't need to stalk my competitors' pages to find inspiration. I became my own mood board. It wasn't just about getting paid more, it was about feeling proud of the work again. Every brand I built had personality, story, humor, depth, and the feedback I received reflected it. People say our brand finally feels like us. This is the first time we feel seen. You nailed it without making us sound like everyone else. I realized I'd wasted so much time trying to sound professional that I forgot to sound relatable. And in business, relatability is currency. The final test came when I got invited to speak at a small creative business panel in Bristol. Me. The same person who once panicked when a client asked, "What makes you different?" Now I had a story to tell. Not one of instant success or viral fame, but of making mistakes, learning, and finding my way back to authenticity. After the panel, someone approached me and said, "I've been stuck copying people too, but your story gave me permission to stop." That was worth more than any invoice I'd ever sent. And the irony? The moment I stopped imitating others, that's when I finally stood out. Sometimes, I still laugh at how far I've come and how close I came to sabotaging it all by copying others. It's been a year since I stopped mirroring my competitors and finally dared to build my own voice. And now, when I walk into strategy sessions with clients, I feel a calm kind of power, not loud, not showy, but earned. Back then, I was chasing credibility. Today, I command trust. Clients book weeks in advance. Some say, "Your brand just felt honest." One even admitted, "I'd seen 100 agencies, but you stood out. You didn't look like anyone else." That was the moment I realized standing out isn't a branding tactic, it's a business strategy. And the truth is, people don't connect with polish, they connect with people. The real you flaws, flair, voice, and all. I used to think originality came from being different. Now I know, it comes from being true. True to your values, true to your story, true to the reason you started in the first place. These days, I mentor younger freelancers who feel like I once did lost, scrambling to look professional by blending in. I tell them the same thing I wish someone told me. Don't borrow someone else's blueprint. Build your own room. It's slower at first, messier, less glamorous, but long-term, it's sustainable, scalable, satisfying. The money changed too. I used to beg for 250 jobs just to build my portfolio. Now I confidently charge £500 for strategy-led design packages because I know what I offer is uniquely mine. But more than the money, it's the peace. I no longer feel like a shadow dancing in someone else's light. I've built my own torch, and now I help others light theirs too. Moral lesson: imitation might get attention, but authenticity earns loyalty. In business, your biggest competitive edge is not looking like your competitors, but showing up as your true self. That's where the real growth begins. Subscribe for more. Love real stories that explore the messy side of business growth? Subscribe now for more honest lessons from the journey. Follow for more. Want weekly business tales that inspire bold moves and clear thinking? Follow for more true stories that help you thrive by being yourself.